We tap Update without thinking. But what's the real cost of that button? New features promise freedom, while invisible strings tighten in the background.
Tonight, we tear apart Apple's walled garden and ask who really owns your phone.
All right, let's talk about your iPhone. You see that little red notification bubble? You tap Update Now, and a little while later, you got a fresh new phone. We all do it. But have you ever stopped to think about what's really going on behind that progress bar? Let's dive in. See, every single update is a kind of trade-off. You're getting some cool new features, for sure, but you're also agreeing to a whole new set of rules. So today, we're going to unpack this latest iOS update and really look at the bargain you just made.
Okay, first things first, let's get to the fun part. Because this is not one of those boring under-the-hood updates. No, Apple actually packed in a ton of new customization features that, finally let you make your iPhone feel like it's actually yours.
My absolute favorite has got to be the new lock screen buttons. I mean, for years, we've all been stuck with the flashlight and the camera, right? Well, not anymore. Now you can swap them out for pretty much anything you want. A shortcut to your favorite app, a specific command, you name it. It sounds like a tiny change, but it makes a huge difference.
And it really doesn't stop there. You can finally put your app icons wherever you want on the home screen. You can completely redesign the control center, and you can even lock or completely hide certain apps behind Face ID. These are all things people have been begging for ages. But, and this is a big but, this isn't the real reason Apple pushed this update out the door.
Nope, the real reason is way more serious. It turns out there was a critical security flaw buried deep in the code. And this wasn't just some theoretical vulnerability. It was a flaw that attackers were actively using out in the wild.
In the security world, this is what we call a zero-day attack. Basically, it means the bad guys found the hole and started exploiting it before the good guys, in this case Apple, even had a chance to fix it. This particular bug affected WebKit, which is the engine that runs not just Safari, but every single web browser on your iPhone. And it could let an attacker run their own code on your device just by you visiting the wrong website. Yikes.
So yeah, while we're all playing around with new icon colors, it's really important to remember that the single most critical feature in this update is the one you will never, ever see. It's the patch that plugs that hole and keeps you safe.
And this brings us right to the heart of the matter. If updates are so important, but sometimes they're buggy, or you just plain don't like the new design, why can't you go back? Why does Apple essentially lock the door behind you every time you update? Well, the answer is built into the very foundation of your iPhone.
Every single iOS update is delivered in a file called an IPSW. The easiest way to think about this is like the master blueprint for your phone's software. It's got the entire operating system, the whole shebang. But here's the catch. To actually install it, you need to get official permission. To understand how this works, let's use a little analogy. Imagine you're trying to get into a super exclusive nightclub. Your computer is you, the client, and you walk up to the club's bouncer, who in this case is your iPhone's main processor, its CPU. Now this bouncer is tough. It's the ultimate gatekeeper, and it has one very simple rule. You are not getting past this rope unless you have a valid, signed ticket directly from the boss. And who's the boss? Well, the boss is Apple's main server. So when your computer goes to the boss and asks for a ticket to install an older, outdated version of iOS, the boss just says, "Nope, that software is old and insecure. Party's over. No ticket for you." And without that ticket, the bouncer on your phone slams the door. Downgrade denied.
And this little drama perfectly illustrates the fundamental battle at the heart of the iPhone. On one side of this wall, you have Apple, whose goal is total security through total control. They want every phone running the latest, safest software. And on the other side, you have communities like the jailbreakers, whose goal is total freedom to run whatever they want on the hardware they own.
For years, this led to a massive cat and mouse game. Clever users figured out they could save the ticket, the official signature called an SHSH blob, back when an iOS version was still being approved. The plan was to then use that saved ticket later to trick the bouncer into letting them install the old software. But Apple is always one step ahead. They introduced a brilliant countermeasure called a nonce. It just stands for number used once. Now, every time you try to install, The bouncer on your phone generates a unique, random, one-time use code. Think of it like a secret password that changes every single second, and that password has to be part of the ticket from the boss. With that one change, all those old saved tickets became instantly worthless.
So, when you put it all together, you realize that none of this is by accident. This entire system, what people call Apple's walled garden, is a deliberate, carefully constructed choice. Apple has decided to trade your freedom to tinker and downgrade for what it believes is a safer, more secure experience for everybody.
And the stakes for maintaining this control are, well, unbelievably high. You just have to look back to 2016 and the big standoff between Apple and the FBI. The government wanted Apple to create a special, insecure version of iOS to unlock a phone, and Tim Cook's response was that doing so would create a master key that could endanger everyone. This signing system we've been talking about, that is the very mechanism that prevents that kind of master key from being created.
Which brings us to the final big question. You bought the hardware, you paid hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars for it, it's in your hand, but who really gets to make the rules for how you use it? Is it just a piece of metal and glass that you own? Or are you just licensing a spot inside someone else's system? It's the central tension of so much of our technology today, and there really are no easy answers. Thanks for digging into this with us.